what we're kind of seeing in the news in the tech industry is we're seeing some tech bosses forcing their employees back to the office. And the things they're bringing up is we've lost our culture. We haven't got engagement. And, there's the real conflict between that and what the employees want. So this is something that could be in the middle of that and help companies keep their culture, keep engaged with their staff.
Welcome to the Thriving Workplace Podcast,
the show that empowers your workplace to make a positive impact on your people, teams, and the entire organizational community.
Whether you're an employee, manager, or executive, we've got something for you.
Dive into inspiring ideas, practical tips, and meaningful conversations about employee well-being.
We're your hosts, Lauren and Jason, passionate workplace well-being champions from the Workplace Performance and Wellbeing Institute.
Join us as we bring in renowned experts and thoughtful leaders to share their wisdom, experiences, and innovative approaches to building a thriving workplace. Welcome back to another episode of the Thriving Workplace Podcast. This week, we're joined by the co-founders of Shakewell Work, who believe in the transformative power of well-being for individuals and society as a whole. Their vision is to empower people to prioritise their mental and physical health in the workplace by providing a platform that makes it convenient, fun, and accessible for everyone to use. So please welcome to the podcast the co-founders of Shakewell Work, Jason Laidley and Justin Samuel. Hello.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having us.
Yes, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd really like to start the podcast, and whoever wants to start can start by telling us a little bit about your background, maybe your background in corporate, maybe what you've seen, and then what's innovated you guys to come up with this Shakewell app.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll start us off. So I'm a web developer by trade. It probably started when I first got my first proper desk job. And I was just sitting there doing my thing, and I started experiencing some of the, aches and pains as we kind of do. I guess what happened was I started doing some stretches randomly at my desk, and the rest of the team started joining in, and it was a bit of a fun and joke thing. It became kind of a routine that we would do every afternoon just within our team. What happened was the rest of the office, we were in like an open plan office. The rest of them could see us having loads of fun in the corner, and they wanted to join in. So being a developer, I did what I did. I recorded one of the guys and put it on a web page that kind of we shared around the office, and people loved it, and they sent it off to other offices. We had a few around the country in the UK, and people started sending it to their friends as well at other companies, and it kind of and that kind of started off the idea. People were like, "Oh, this is good. You should make this a thing." So that's how it kind of started, and it was accidental. And then from there, I was kind of speaking to Justin and our other co-founder, Jason, a third Jason. So we've been friends for a long time, go back 20 years. So we're talking, and they're like, "Yes, we've experienced the same thing. They work at desk jobs as well," and we kind of put our heads together and said, maybe this is something that people could benefit from, and we kind of went from there.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome.
What about yourself, Justin?
Yeah, happy to jump in as well. So similar to Jason, my background is also quite deeply rooted in the corporate world. So I've been in the tech industry for the best part of 20 years, sort of same length of time that I've been friends with Jason. And Jason and I, just to strip it back a bit, Jason and I have been friends for quite a while, and we've always been fairly active. We've played for football teams together. We're still friends now, even though we've started a company together, surprisingly. And Jason and I would obviously speak. And me, myself, being at sort of desk for long periods of time, I sort of noticed sort of a consistent challenge with, and that many others are facing in my office, with just sitting at a desk for long periods of time, right, just staring at a screen. And with that, I guess, comes a lot of physical toll with doing that. Especially as being quite an active person, I really struggled with sitting at my desk for 8 to 10 hours a time. So Jason mentioned sort of he was experiencing the same problem. And then we had an open conversation and said, look, if I'm experiencing this, you are, people in my office are, people in your office are, why don't we try and work? We both work in the tech industry. Why don't we do something to help sort of a broader audience? At the time, I was reading a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And for us, that sort of really hit home how small sort of consistent actions can lead to significant change. So that was kind of planted the seed of how we wanted to develop Shakewell, to make it sort of consumable and digestible and not create too much of a strain on or disruption to everyday working life. So that was how Shakewell was born, a little bit about what prompted me to work with Jason on the project.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes. I'd like you guys to maybe dive into a bit more about what this app actually is, because I know I've spoken to Jason about even this Jason probably doesn't know much about the app.
I definitely want to know more.
How it works and what the benefits are. So if you could probably dive into that, I know the listeners would be keen to listen to what that is.
Yeah, I don't mind starting off. So what it is as I kind of alluded to before, it's literally a web site, web app that you go to from your desk at work. You just click an invite and you go to a web page. And on this web page is recordings of exercise movements that you can do at your desk. And these are specifically designed to be done at your desk, in your office, in your work clothes, no equipment needed, nothing like that. We worked with an occupational therapist to design these movements so they're safe and appropriate for everyone, and also work on the trouble points that everyone has, your neck, your back, legs, etc. So literally, you're at your desk, you click on this link, you follow the instructor who we got normal people to be the instructors, if you will. They're not gym people per se. It's designed for normal people to do, and you follow it through, and it goes for like 5 minutes, and at the end of that, you sit back down and carry on your work. So it doesn't take away from your whole day. You don't have to go and get changed. You don't have to go to another room. So that's kind of good from the company's point of view as well. They kind of like that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So that's what it kind of physically is. So yeah, that's the overview.
Yeah. But did you want to add anything to that, Justin, that maybe Jason left out, or?
Yeah, I mean, Jason did a really good job of covering what we do. I think, as I mentioned as well, is our aim is to make it consumable and cause as little disruption sort of to your daily working life as possible. One thing that we really took into consideration as well is after COVID, obviously, we saw a huge shift in the way companies work and how employees work, right? So you've got, like myself, I'm a remote worker. So I often miss sort of, the walk to get a coffee or the walk at lunchtime to go and grab lunch. You can easily get yourself sort of move into some bad habits. So what we wanted to do as well is make sure that it was accessible, whether you're in an office or at home, and bring that element, I guess, of social engagement as well. So we really want to sort of get employees engaged and bring an aspect of fun to it, right? Movement, exercise, whatever that may be, doesn't have to be mundane, doesn't have to be too rigorous, especially if you're not doing it at all. It's about taking small steps. So we really wanted to provide, I guess, that use case and that journey, kind of like from doing nothing to doing something, which can be fun as well. So that's something we really took into consideration when we were building out the platform.
Amazing.
I love that.
I love it. I love how it's just a small pocket of time. I can see that would be really appealing to different organizations, because it's not going to take you, half an hour, your whole lunch break to do.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that was about it as well is when I've taken part in Wellbeing, initiatives at work, it's kind of been the case where someone's come in and maybe it's a group and you sign up for it, and maybe 15 of you will go, and then the other 150 people don't get to do it. So this is something that everyone can get a chance to do, and that's the another great thing about it, and that's again what we wanted to achieve with it, and for even going forward, everything that we're going to do, we want it to be for everyone in the office.
Yeah,
it's inclusive.
Yeah,
That's great.
and I loved how you said that the people running the training videos weren't just your, in inverted commas, gym junkies.
no, exactly,
Everyday people. So then that means
exactly,
and relate to that.
exactly.
Yeah, and they don't need to go and get changed, like Laura was saying. It's just, hey, let's put this on for at 1 o'clock today, just before lunch. Have
exactly
before we have our lunch break. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and yeah, as you said, you just came up with a time that you might do it, and that's exactly what we see people do. As in corporate leaders, they'll say, "Well, we have our lunch break at 1, or we have a coffee break at 3. We'll do it then." So everyone kind of takes it and does their own thing with it. And this, being a web developer, that's what always happens. You kind of put something together, and you think, "Oh, this is what they're gonna do," but it never works that way. Everyone takes it and they make their own thing from it, and so that's always good to see.
Yeah. From your experiences, what do you find the biggest challenge that corporate workers face in terms of movement, or even mental health as well? So physical and mental health.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the biggest challenge that I think corporate workers face is that sometimes they don't realize how mundane and sedentary their lives have become, until it manifests into a larger physical problem, right? Whether that's something like chronic back pain, RSI, or just a general feeling of like sluggishness. And we were doing, before, when we were starting, say, Shakewell, we did obviously a few studies and looked at a few stats. And we noticed that we saw that sort of the average worker sits at their desk for about 10 hours a day, which is alarming, right? Given sort of the well-documented health risk associated with prolonged sitting. So we wanted to address that. And I think what we want to try and do is move, I guess, the stigma away of organizations feeling like they have to just tick a checkbox, right? Saying we're doing something with wellness as well. There are some organizations that do that. So we're trying to create, and I think that's for a number of reasons, right? It's around, is this going to take away from our productivity, efficiency? How much time is it going to take? What is the cost? So there are a number of factors that can impact that decision of them not wanting to move to a solution. And sometimes they're not really researching the type of solution that they are integrating or introducing to their employees. So we really took that into consideration as well. And I guess it's been easier for us because we come from that world, right? So I'm a sales director for a tech company. If someone came to me and said, "Hey, Justin, here's a platform and we're going to get your employees, your sales team to do this for an hour a day," I'll say, "No way, Jose," right? So we want to make it, our vision was to make it in a way that it is accessible. But also there's studies to say, look, 5 to 7 minutes of movement a day can increase productivity, efficiency, sort of mental wellness as well. So that's kind of the vision and the sort of route that we want to go.
Yeah. I think I'd add to that is, I think, as Justin suggested, the big problem is probably leadership is a big problem, where they don't prioritize the well-being of the staff, which is, it's funny because, your staff are your biggest asset and your biggest cost in your business. If as a leader, that's where your salaries are, where most of your money is going. And they don't prioritize that. They don't know anything about them. So that's again something we want to change. And so what we want to do long term is add that data element, so we can get the well-being part on a spreadsheet in the boardroom at the in the directors meeting and get it onto the agenda as a real part of the business case. So that's what we hope to achieve.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to ask a question to add to that, because I've heard a few times both of you sort of say the words vision, and we've got this vision. I'd like to dive more into what that vision is with Shakewell and the three of you in this space together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, it's like I said, we really want to. Well, one of the visions I really have is that data piece to get, as I say, get the leadership really on board and view it as a business case. Wellbeing is not just a fluffy piece that is on the side. That is a nice to have. And when COVID hit, it was the first piece that went away. And that's not the way around it should be. So and that's on the business side, but and also on the side of the the employee, we want to have something that's going to improve their health and be fun. A happy side effect that we kind of see with this is that people talk to each other when they're doing the exercises. That's have a 5-minute conversation, and they actually speak, because in the kind of corporate world you kind of get siloed. You only speak to your line manager and your team around you, and the culture suffers as part of that. So I think that's how I see part of the vision. Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah. From my perspective, I'd say my vision, really want to see workplaces becoming wellness becoming more integrated as part of the fabric of the company culture, rather than just being an afterthought, right? As Jason mentioned. And we can only do that by providing sort of key senior stakeholders with data on how it's having an impact from a positive perspective. Being in technology, all three of us are. From a technology perspective, I think technology will still play a very crucial role, just given where we are now. So we're looking at sort of AI to introduce AI. I think wearable tech and personalizing the routines is going to become key for us as we continue to grow. So we really want to use tech. We're going to sort of model it based upon your individual requirements. Hopefully that's the sort of the route we want to go, so that we're tailoring, I guess, the usage for individual unique needs and daily habits. So we really want to leverage tech. I've got a bit of an AI background, so I'm pushing Jason to see how we can incorporate that, which he's not too happy about. It's extra work for him, but it's definitely our vision.
Yeah, I love that.
it's exciting.
That is exciting. Definitely, with the world of AI out there, it's not going away, right? It's going to be. So we've got to either use it and keep going ahead, or don't use it, fall behind, and then eventually pick it up anyways. So you might as well come up now.
Exactly. Yeah. So as you said, AI is not going away. Technology, laptops, us working at computers, it's not going anywhere. The next generation will probably be at a desk computer more than we are now. So we need to solve those problems, and we need to find a way, because it's affecting a lot of people. A saying that's getting kind of passed around is, sitting is the new smoking. So the effects are starting to show now. So everyone needs a solution to it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's so important what all of you guys are doing. Like you say, the health benefits of this app is huge, and there's so many studies out there about taking regular breaks, maybe once an hour, once every couple of hours, just for a few minutes, moving the body, how that increases, blood flow up to the brain, increases endorphins and all the things that you need to actually work more effectively. So I think organizations eventually will really see the benefits of implementing something like this. And organizations are, like, it is definitely moving into more of an acceptable thing now, that, like you said, wellbeing isn't just let's do a tick in the box, or it's just a thing to be able to have if we have budget left over. Like, okay, we actually need to have segregated money aside for this stuff. And it's exciting because the space that we're in too at WPWI, you just got to work on the clients that are willing now, and then and they'll see that's the organization doing well. What are they? Oh, they're implementing this, they're doing this. Oh, we're not, we're falling behind. It's the same with AI. If you start to say no to these sorts of opportunities and say we're still doing the same way that we've been doing for 50 years, they keep falling behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. And, one thing I've noticed, some companies who are, leading in that thought, they're adding this to their job adverts. They say, they're to get the best talent, to draw them in and to retain them. So, it's competition is fierce out there, especially in the tech world where we live. So we're seeing that staff are looking for these things from companies. They don't just want to go to work and slog. No, they want to see that the company is forward thinking and thinking about things in the whole and think about them as well.
Yeah, 100%. And there's so many opportunities out there for people these days, or employees these days. They can, look at a range of different organizations and employers and be like, well, we go and work over there because they do have things like the Shakewell app. They do invest in their staff and are valued there. So I really like that. Do you think you could give us an example of perhaps a company or a team that have already, so you don't have to name them, already used Shakewell and their experiences and the positive changes that they have had so far?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in first into this and then I'll let Jason maybe take another one. So one of our early adopters, and I would say, I'd probably caveat say it wasn't our traditional use case, right, or ideal customer, just based on what they do. So typically we normally go for office-based type organizations, whether that be tech organizations, just office-based organizations. But what we saw in COVID, in the education sector specifically, were teachers were at home, students were at home, and they just weren't connected, right? And teachers were working super long hours, trying to keep up with everything. So one of our first customers actually was a school, a private school, and they incorporated it, funny enough, for the teachers initially, where they would gather. And it's kind of, as we mentioned earlier, kind of like that social piece as well. Everyone was working at home, so they would connect on the Shakewell platform and really sort of help them with participation, first of all, getting them all together, but just the spirit of the team, as well as the sort of original benefits that we mentioned around what Shakewell can bring. So in a couple of weeks, like, because we're still quite a young company, we like to ensure that we are sort of rounding off our feedback loop with our customers that do use the platform. So we engage with them just to find out how they were getting on. And the reports back from them were super positive, right? They saw an improvement in team morale, a noticeable decrease in the number of employees that were reporting back pain and fatigue, which really brought a sort of smile to our face. As they've all gone back into classrooms now, and everyone's back into school, they're still leveraging Shakewell platform, and they're doing it on sort of their teacher breaks as well. So a little side piece to that is that it sort of really gave us a good idea, and we're really sort of looking at how we can leverage that use case and sort of provide more of a service to the education sector as a whole for children. So that's something, an exciting project that we're looking at as well. So yeah.
Definitely need to go down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I guess I'll give an example from more kind of your classic office scenarios. Is, we worked with an organization that was doing this and really helpful in working with and giving us constant feedback to shape and iterate on what we did. And I just a funny thing that happened over COVID, they went to the office and they went home from the office, and they wanted to carry on with their afternoon Shakewell. So what one of them did was they done a Zoom call and kind of put the exercise on it, so everyone kind of joined it. And then that kind of goes back to what I stated earlier. You never know what someone's going to take your product and do with it. So we kind of, we said, why don't we build something like that in? So that's, we kind of done that since we built that a video piece into And when I say video, I mean kind of like a Zoom call. You don't have to literally be on camera. So and that was an interesting and something that came as a surprise to us, myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I suppose that just possibly may have answered another question that I just had as well. So people who perhaps work in remote areas, and we might even back to COVID times as well. And I love how we say that, back to COVID times. So if, let's say, they're working remote, does the Shakewell app have like that integration where they could turn their cameras on, so it does bring that connection piece all together?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So that definitely does exist, and that's something that is in there now. And yeah, the real joy of that piece is really engagement and culture. What we're kind of seeing in the news in the tech industry is we're seeing some tech bosses forcing their employees back to the office, and the things they're bringing up is we've lost our culture, we haven't got engagement, and there's the real conflict between that and what the employees want from their work-life balance. There is a clash there. So this is something that could be in the middle of that and help companies keep their culture, keep engaged with their staff, and hopefully allow the staff to keep that hybrid or that remote working situation going, which is massively improved work-life balance for a lot of people.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to know more about the Shakewell app, perhaps even more about you as the co-founders as well, where could they find more information?
Yeah, so we have our link, first of all, our website, which is shakewell.work. So give it a visit. We'll probably be doing we're doing an offer at the moment anyway for the end of the year. So for companies that want to have this initiative for the beginning of next year, reach out to us. We're also on LinkedIn. We're on our socials. We've got an Instagram page, which is Shakewell_work. And then you can contact us directly on our LinkedIn pages, which is mine's Justin Samuel, quite easy to find, and Jason Bailey and Jason Fixon, who will be very angry if I don't mention him. So yeah, we're on all the socials.
Amazing. And we'll put all of those in the show notes as well, including the other Jason who's not here as well. So he'll feel included as well.
He'll be on the next time.
For sure, yeah. Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing, and we've really enjoyed this conversation. I feel like this podcast will give so many insights to the listeners about maybe different options that they didn't realize are out there, and also some of the experiences that other corporate workers are experiencing in the workplace. And on the last question, we always ask this to every guest that we have on here. So we'll start with you, Justin. If you were to give someone 60 seconds of advice, now this can be something that we've spoke about or completely different, what would that advice be?
Yeah, really good question. Kind of put me on the spot. I didn't think about this, but my my bit of advice I always say this to my friends, my family, being an active person. My motto is movement is medicine. And it doesn't have, I don't want the personal trainers to come after me here, and I'm not trying to take food off their plate, but it doesn't have to be complicated or time consuming, right? But just integrating, I think, regular movements into your daily routine, whether that's a small stretch when you wake up in the morning or walking to go and grab your lunch, a simple stand up every couple of hours, like you mentioned earlier, Lauren. So just integrating and taking small steps, I think is super important, and you'll see a huge benefit.
Interesting. And like you, 60 seconds of advice.
Yeah, I'll probably bring something that I kind of always try to remember in my life, and that is, if you don't understand the way someone is acting, then you don't know the full story. And that kind of goes back to, everyone has problems. You don't know what people are going through, so before you call someone insert expletive there, take a second and think, if you were in their shoes, you may be acting the same way. So that's just a little thing that I try to remember before I shout back at somebody. So that's really.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Justin and Jason, thank you again so much for coming onto the podcast. If any of our listeners want to know more about the work that they do and the Shakewell app, check the links in the description below, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
If you got value from this episode, it would mean the world to us if you could take 20 seconds out of your day and leave a 5-star rating and written review.
And remember, you have the power to make a lasting change in your workplace.